Hello everybody, Anne-Marie Orick here, and welcome to Knowing the Secrets of How to Develop an Irresistible Social Recruitment Strategy and Attract Top Talent Effortlessly. That's the aim. So this is part 4 of my training series, Turn the Tables on Talent Scarcity. And hopefully if you've been following in videos part 1, 2 and 3, we covered the reasons good candidates don't apply for your roles, which is based on the concept of the scale of trust and the scale of readiness to move, and how they differ between passive and active candidates, and how some scale combinations can be absolutely detrimental to your recruitment results, and just knowing what they are. I also covered in slide 2, in video 2, the 5 key elements of influence and what they are, and how you can apply your recruitment marketing to gain greater attention from the best candidates. Now I'm having a problem getting the slides to move through. I apologise for that. I don't know why I can't get them to move through. So bear with me as I try and get these slides to move through for you. Sometimes these technical difficulties can give you a bit of a... Okay, here we go. So that was talking about video 1, and this is the 5 key elements of top talent influence, which was video 2. Now, whether you've been with me on this journey of watching the videos with the first training sessions, or you're jumping in now for this live event, I just want to welcome you, and I'm very honoured that you're spending your valuable time with me and with your peers who are taking action here today. In this masterclass, what you'll be learning is how to give your organisation an unfair advantage through the key system and framework of my social recruitment branding blueprint that helps you create online recruitment marketing strategies that are effective and attracts the right talent that you need. But you know what, the other really cool thing about it is that you are also giving yourself the unfair advantage when it comes to your career with this knowledge. It's a relatively new area in HR, social recruitment, and it's hot right now, and organisations are looking for HR talent that has this knowledge and skills. You also get the ebook, The 7 Principles to a Magnetic Social Recruitment Strategy resource. So you can know the principles that are crucial for underpinning a successful social recruitment branding strategy. So everyone gets that today, and it's available to you to download here now. So I will give you access to that, so you are able to get access to the 7 principles of a magnetic social recruitment strategy. So there they are for you. You should be able to get that in your screen at the moment. But mainly today, we'll be going deep on one of the most core and critical elements of a social recruitment branding strategy, and that is content. I'll be taking you through the 7 key steps of creating contagious social recruitment content that you'll be able to apply to your content approach immediately after this masterclass. And in addition, those who stay with us to the end will receive the Ultimate Social Recruitment Contagious Content Planner tool. It's just a little bit of a gift and a thank you for attending the masterclass today. So if you get nothing else out of this training, this resource alone makes creating endless sources of the right mix of employer branding content really easy. And so hang in there with me for that at the end. All right. So you are in the right place today. If you are in HR, or HR or responsible for talent acquisition, or both in your organisation, and you want to develop the sophistication of your recruitment strategy, to gain really transformational results. And I mean, like, really kick it out of the park in 2015. And to really get leadership to sit up and notice, and experience the great results delivered by you and your team. You may be like I was in my previous life as an HR director, when I just knew I had so much to offer my organisation, but I was struggling. I really struggled with finding a way of getting good talent, and I just needed to find that one catalyst, that breakthrough that led to astounding turnaround and results. So you may be looking for that, or perhaps you're already on that path. Some of you may be already on the path to developing social recruitment, branding, but you're struggling with the results, or it may be that you are struggling to get stakeholder buy-in and traction. Or maybe you're just not sure how to pull it all together. You've got bits and pieces everywhere, but you're just not sure how to pull it together into an effective system that is long-term sustainable. Or you just want to know you're doing it right, yeah? You might be in a place where you say, well, look, Anne-Marie, we don't have a problem with getting candidates. In fact, we have the opposite. We have tons and tons of candidates who apply, and we're overwhelmed. But we still, after all that, we still don't get any of the good talent that we really need. Well, if that is the case, I'm grateful that you found your way here, because there are just some simple things that you're going to learn that you can apply that can create a shift and a difference for you. Okay. Now, I'm about to show you the #1 way that you can expand your reach and awareness and gain a lot more quality candidates and slash your recruitment fees, you don't want fees significantly, and deliver candidates. Well, ultimately, you want to deliver candidates that your hiring managers are going to really love, and be amazed with. So how do I know this? Well, in a similar way, I had to make this work for myself, with my business in corporate Canary HR consulting, and like many companies who struggle with becoming known to the best candidates, I too have been on my own journey of creating greater awareness and putting into place the key principles and strategies that helped me create the successful business and profile that I have. So, years ago, I had a burning dream and a passion, but I was in nowhere land, really. I had a big heart on my sleeve about wanting to change the HR world. But by developing a marketing mindset and creating innovative work and piecing it all together and implementing the key principles of attraction, I started to create that unfair advantage for myself through winning big business with clients in, the UK, USA, Europe, Middle East, and mainly here also in Australia. So for almost 20 years, I've been developing the sophistication of the recruitment approach and strategies for organisations, both large and small, that needed to attract better quality candidates. And over time, I attracted media attention because I had my marketing mindset in place, and for some of my work, and I began to get sought out by journalists for my thought leadership and my expert comment, and they just they wanted to know how I was doing this for my clients. And so this has led me to be I'm really being quite honoured to be able to share the stage and speak with other HR and talent acquisition thought leaders at industry events, and then from that, I've also been asked to work with various esteemed institutions to sit and advise on committees with them and with heads of industry, developing recruitment and skills policies for the future, okay, for this country actually. It also actually in early 2013, LinkedIn asked me to become one of their first 25% LinkedIn publishers before it was open to the public in July 2014. And what that led for me was a following. I started to create a growing following on social media. And then this led to offers of co-authorship with books and speaking events, and I'm a regular consultant writer for online sites. So it all comes. I tell you this to illustrate that it all comes from making the one move with a decision and a commitment to make the difference I wanted to make. And you are here today to make the difference that you want to make. So this masterclass, it's for those of you who want to join the elite, those organisations who are mastering social media recruitment and understanding branding to their advantage right now. So in the next 60 minutes or so, my objective is to show you a new perspective and to open you up to the possibility of what you can create and transform. So everything you learn today, you'll be able to immediately put into place and start on. And for those of you who do want to take it, to a greater level, don't worry. I'll be showing you exactly how you can do this as well. Okay, so the secret, just cutting to the chase here, the secret to putting your organisation in the enviable position of having what I call top talent on tap is by creating an irresistible offer by using a reverse recruitment technique. Now, it's not just any offer, it is an irresistible offer that is targeted. So let me put this in a simple context that you may be able to relate to. Recently, my partner and I were walking down the street of one of Sydney's restaurant hotspots. There's restaurants of all kinds on both sides of the street everywhere. And outside one of the restaurants was one of the restaurant employees who were hawking their restaurant, right? So they were jumping into the path of every person walking down the road and waving a brochure in their face and sort of pushing the brochure into our hands. And you might have experienced something like this, yourself. Now, we had already eaten, so we were not really interested, and it was a bit annoying, really. So you might know what I mean. You might have experienced this. But a little further down was another restaurant with an employee out the front who was simply just standing there. They're not jumping out, waving anything at us. But here is the difference. They had an enticing platter of tasted dishes of the restaurant menu. Now, of course, this made us slow down to look, and still this person said nothing. They just looked us in the eye with a bit of a suggestive smile, and then they looked down at this plate, and then they looked back up at us again. It was almost seductive, I've got to say. But without speaking to each other, both my partner and I, we stopped and still they said nothing. And then we said, do you mind, can we try some? And he said, absolutely, whatever you like. And we tried a few of these little taster dishes. And then, after a brief discussion with my partner, we decided to go into the restaurant and we ordered coffees and even a small dessert to share. Now, here is the thing. We had already eaten and we didn't need to eat anymore. In fact, we had just finished scoffing down an ice cream cone each from, just after dinner. But we were actually, when I think about it, we were actually on our way somewhere. But they had created a hook, okay, with the free taster plates. And the taster plates created very rapid credibility, trust, and therefore influenced us because the offer was so irresistible. But here's the key, it was subtle. So ultimately we made time and we made room in our stomachs in order to create and enjoy the experience of that restaurant. So can you see, just through this example, how reverse recruitment techniques parallel with this story, okay? This tactic is known as, in the marketing world, it's known as pull marketing. It's when you don't have to work hard chasing down talent, or in this story, it was customers, right? The second restaurant, they pulled us in with what I call that elegant move, you know. The first restaurant, they were pushing themselves on us. So it is the strategy of creating subtle, you know, just almost subliminal, irresistible offers to top quality candidates through your social media content to inspire them to say yes, right, to your offer, and to say yes to themselves on the spot and take action towards your organisation. So just one thing I want to get clear here is when I say offer here, I don't mean job offer. The irresistible offer is what you uniquely provide in terms of the experience of working for you that is better than where they are now. So in other terms, it's, you know, as we know, the technical term for it is employer branding. So to help you start thinking with that, you know, that marketing mindset, I'm going to give you a little formula now that will articulate what it is you need to focus on with your social recruitment marketing branding. Okay, so the offer, here is the formula. The offer is the outcome plus service delivery. So the outcome is what they experience, or the ultimate outcome they get from working with you. And what you do is you focus 90% of your content and marketing on that outcome. Now, the service delivery, what's that? Well, it's a marketing term, but it's how they get it. It's how they get that outcome. So it's through the job they get it, all right? It's through income, the income they earn that they get the outcome, or the training that you deliver to them, or the experience, you know, they have with the other employees in the organisation. So that is your service to your employees. But the thing is, HR often gets it the wrong way around. You know, we tend to market the service delivery part as the outcome. So we bang on, you know, 90% about the salary they're going to get, or the job structure and the duties. We might talk about location and whether they get free parking or not. But it's not the outcome, you know, that's really in the hearts and minds of top quality candidates. You know, those kind of things are initially important to them because they're trying to think, you know, logistically, how can they keep their life in order? But, you know, it's not the ultimate outcome that they're looking for. So in my upcoming program, we solidify how to construct the irresistible offer based on strong outcomes with a lesser focus on what I call the service delivery. You know, it's kind of like when you buy a package holiday, for example, which I have done recently. I'm off to Fiji in 6 weeks, and you don't want to know the make and model of the plane or the seat configuration size. You are more focused on the outcome. Now, whether it be fun or relaxation for you, okay? In HR, we tend to do mediocre to almost zero job of being marketing minded, but it's, you know, it's not your fault. It's definitely not your fault. You know, traditionally, you and I have been taught to be like the first restaurants I told you about. You know, I'm not saying that you totally throw out the traditional approach, but what I am saying is that it has become less effective over time, even for good quality active candidates. Okay, so that is the theory. Now that we have the theory behind all of this new strategy in reverse recruitment, I'm going to move on now. And so there are 3 parts to today's training. And the first part, I'm going to quickly walk you through an overview of the HR social recruitment blueprint. The second part, I'm going to show you the 7 steps to creating contagious social recruitment content. So we're going to go into each of those steps so you're very clear on that. And finally, in the part 3 of today, I'll be showing you the steps or the formula to create an irresistible social recruitment branding strategy and how to realise and how to pull it all together so you can execute that within your organisation. Okay, so now is a good time to grab your workbook if you haven't already grabbed your workbook and downloaded it, because we're going to start filling in parts of the workbook as we go along. Okay. Just going to take a drink of water. Okay. All right. Okay, the HR Social Recruitment Blueprint. Here, if you have a look at it, it sits on what I call the diamond of commitment. Now, if you can see the purple diamond in the diagram there, it is showing you the journey the candidate takes from being unaware to aware to becoming engaged with you and then committing to join you. And each part of that journey slices through different social recruitment branding content. And that content needs to be relevant to the stage of that diamond that they are on. Typically, in any kind of recruitment that we're doing and branding, what I see a lot out there on the internet is a lot of branding around the top part of the diamond, which is the unaware phase. So we need to get better at developing the content for each other parts of the points of those diamonds that sliced through there. Now, I've spent a lot of time, believe me, assessing and reviewing recruitment branding content for our clients and just searching sites and social media platforms of companies, and it's an area that really struggles. You know, even some of the top name employers who are doing, some of the techniques and tactics very well, but they only seem to have half of it in place, which is kind of letting them down. So when you're following a system and steps, you raise the quality and connectedness of your content. So I'm going to show you now the 7 key steps to creating contagious employer brand content, which is a critical part of the blueprint. And so if you see there, it's the content part of the blueprint, and we'll fill these in as we go along in our workbook. Okay, so the first step that many organisations miss, or they kind of get wrong, is the first step, which is tone and personality. So this is understanding or determining how you will consistently portray the organisation voice. How a lot of organisations get it wrong here is by copying others. So they may see an inspiring piece of content that another organisation has created, and they attempt to recreate it, but it doesn't quite fit in with the inherent tone and personality of the organisation. So language style is an important part here, and ensuring that you identify the common psyche and personality of your employee base. And there may be many, you may have many different personalities, as many organisations do, but the key is to distill it down to, say, a top 2 or 3. So you need to determine, okay, well, what is our tone and personality? And, from the outside, you need to get resources who can help you see what they're currently seeing. And then from the inside, well, what do we think what our tone and personality is? So it could be around some of these example areas which I have up there on the screen at the moment. So, is it a youthful tone and personality, or is it more on the caring? Are you more serious and professional, or, intelligence? Is that your language all around that? So for your workbooks, the first step of the 7 steps to creating contagious employer brand content is the tone and personality. So step 2 moving on, is content types. So this is selecting what types of content you will use to achieve your objectives. A part of my upcoming program is getting really, really clear on your objectives so you are able to determine the right content types. So when I say content types, well, what do I mean here? Well, the content types are, here I want to mind you actually, sorry, that a bonus, when you say to the end here, will really help you with this particular step, because it will help you be right across over 40 content types to keep your content engaging and raveable, because that's what we want it to be, raveable. So I'm talking about the Ultimate Social Recruitment Contagious Content Planner tool. So stay to the end for that, because that directly works in with this particular step here. So content types are how information within and about your organisation, or it could be any information for that matter that you want to target to particular candidates within any point in that diamond of commitment, how that information is structured. All right, so a common example of a content type is a how-to based content. So the content type I'm delivering to you today is a how-to based content type, right? So how to create a social recruitment branding strategy. So others you may be familiar with are types such as testimonials, interviews, case studies. You have reviews or quizzes. You can have data like fast facts, demos. So a resource you get in the Blueprint program is like an exhaustive list of content ideas, and they're targeted for candidate attraction. And it's a really indispensable resource for creating really unique content. You know, now there's a lot of content out there on the internet, and content is not king anymore, it's uniqueness, okay? Okay, so that's number 2, content types. Third one is the content categories. So step 3 in creating your contagious content is planning what the content themes, what themes you will be using. So for example, and you can use many, many different themes. You're not kind of limited, although you do need to determine whether it's going to fit in with your tone and personality, or the personality you're projecting, okay? And that it's congruent with that. So themes, will it be time-based theme? So are you, for example, are you looking at content that is talking about the history of your organisation, or about the future of where you're, so is it time-based? Some of the other ones maybe is, are you looking for something that's more humorous? You know, you want to engage them with humour. And or you're going to be targeting emotions. You want to trigger certain emotions that elicit certain actions from your candidates. And will you mix some of these? And there is a real art and science to mixing these categories, so you get a very good quality outcome with your content. So there is a lot to think about here, and this is where you really get into the power of communication, when you effectively use categories for your content. Another category to consider here is called the promotional category, and it's an event-based recruitment. So where you create an event, like for example, like a contest. And I also gave a case study in my video 3, the Maven Talent Hook, of the company Atlassian, who had an event-based promotional event that turned out to be massively successful for them. Another one is Google. You may have, I think it was, pretty sure it was Google, with the billboard, where they just had a huge big billboard, and they just had a line of code, complex code or a formula, and underneath it, in small writing, it had a website, address, and it said, if you can solve this, go to this website and enter in your answer. Now, those who went to the website and answered in the correct answer were then invited to apply for the specialist positions that they were having difficulty filling. So that's an example of promotional or event-based category of content. Okay, so now we're on to step 4, which is content formats. And this is the format that your content types and categories will be delivered in. So I'm not talking about social media platforms here, but I'm talking about content formats such as articles. They could be articles or blogs, tools, webinars. So the masterclass today is a format that I'm delivering my how-to content type, okay? So, and the last one there is video. Now, video is, it really is an area that can no longer be ignored in any recruitment strategy. Videos can be created and shared very, very easily now with smartphones and tablets, and so they're highly transportable and you know, shareable, and they are not expensive to produce, and they really don't take long to create. But they can be highly, highly powerful influencers. So video really is an area you need to be spending a lot more focus and time in terms of your content format, but it's not the only one. You do use various different content formats to feed into other content formats, and that's through what's called an ascension model of content. And that's another area to really understand. All right, step 5 in the home stretch here is content distribution. So here I am talking about how you're going to distribute your content. And I'm not only talking about what platforms are best for your candidate targets, but also the mix and the frequency. You know, there's a real change starting to come down the line with content distribution in 2015. And what we're starting to see are some emerging trends around niche social networks. They're definitely continuing to be on the rise. And so we have platforms such as Ello. If anyone's heard of Ello, it's an invite-only platform. Now, this presents some real advantages for employers who know this and know how to use it for their advantage. So also for employers of youth and teens, you know, we're starting to know Facebook and Twitter have now been edged out by the exponentially growing Instagram as the platform of choice to consume their social media fix. Now, it's important to know that this may be a platform in which you create your hook, what we call hook content, which then takes them to other platforms where you've got your more in-depth information, your educational type content, all right? So it's understanding how these all work in with each other and how you do that really effectively. All right, step 6 is your engagement plan, or sometimes it can be the lack of it. And it's one of the main reasons that social communities fail and fall over. You know, I've spent a lot of time in a lot of different social communities, and you know, a lot of them fall over and become like what I call tumbleweed city, because there's no plan. So this is a key step that shouldn't be ignored, and you need to ensure you've dedicated the time and the resources to do and have an effective engagement plan. So it's having a system and plan around how you will drive and manage interaction with your posts of content, and not only just interaction with your posts, but also the spill out, which is ongoing and keeping ongoing dynamism, conversation, which is imperative to get your candidates to come back to your platforms and to keep returning. Okay. And that is very important because you need to build trust with them. And that's the key influencer to get them to take action. So the seventh and the final is to your creating contagious content is what we call response management. So this step overlaps with step 6, but rather than communication to your audience, response management is about it's about how you're going to structure or answer questions or negative feedback or abuse. So how to manage the trolls that may go onto your site. And one of the resources available to the program participants is the social media communication and response plan template. So that's there to help you plan your approach so you have a very easily identifiable resource and policy around who, how, why, and when in terms of response management. Okay, so they are the 7 steps of creating contagious employer brand content. And before we move on to part 3 of today's training, I just want to quickly make a reference to the 7 principles that form the core and heart of the blueprint. And I want to stress the importance of having them in place. And I wanted to pluck out one that is most important, and they are all in the ebook there. And don't worry, if you're not able to download the ebook today, you'll definitely get it in follow-up email. But I just wanted to pluck out the one that is most important. And I know they are also important, and they really do depend on one another, and they are in a way crucial to have in place before attempting anything. You must have these locked in, because without them, without these principles, everything can fall down like a house of cards. And glossing over or sidestepping these can lead to a world of pain down the line. And what I'm talking about is commitment. It is absolutely crucial and critical. So I'm just noticing here that some of you are saying that you can't get access to the 7 principles. I'm going to see if I can release that again for you, and you should be able to get that. But as I said, don't worry, it will be sent to you, and you will get that later on. So the key principle I'm talking about at the core is commitment. If you are not committed, how can you expect the best talent to commit to you? Now, a lack of commitment in your social recruitment is a telltale sign to top talent that you may not be worthy of them. Now, I know that could be potentially difficult to hear, but lack of commitment impacts not all kind of strategies or things you want to get over the line. And commitment becomes a challenge for organisations when one or more of the following factors are present. Now, it could be a lack of compelling vision or a reason. So not being very clear about why you were doing these things, and it could be an inadequate knowledge or lack of resources. It could be a lack of trust or poor structure and planning or support mechanisms. Or lack of commitment usually arises when we're met with obstacles and we avoid or we fail to overcome them. So you need to ask yourself now, well, if you think about anything where you've got a feeling within your organisation where there's a lack of commitment, which one or combination of these is preventing you and your organisation from committing to moving forward and joining those other organisations who have broken through the challenges of finding good talent? Is it a lack of compelling vision, or do you struggle with getting really clear on how social recruitment branding can help your organisation? Is it that you just don't feel you know enough or know how the successful companies are doing it? And is it that there isn't anyone in your talent acquisition team that has this expertise right now, and all you need to do is just get it to move forward? So at the core and the heart of the HR Social Recruitment Blueprint are these principles, but it's mainly your commitment as a change agent within your organisation. So you are here today in this masterclass through your commitment to learning, to learning how you can attract the top talent effortlessly. And through developing an irresistible social recruitment branding strategy, and that is how you are able to do that. So stick with me, because I want to show you now the blueprint process, okay? The formula and the steps, the 5 key steps of how you can do this. And so if you are in most of you, I'm assuming, are in front of your computer right now. Some of you might be listening on the line or on your mobile, but if you can access, we're going to go over now to a web page, which is www.theultimatesocialrecruitmentblueprint.com. Okay, so if you hop over to there, www.theultimatesocialrecruitmentblueprint.com, and you will see a page come up, and now you may get a video that starts playing, but so you can just press pause or stop that, and you can come back to that later. But there are some pieces, there's just some elements on this page that I want to show you that outlines the steps to putting together the structure and the strategy that leads to the transformation in your recruitment results that you want. So while you're getting there, and that's to www.theultimatesocialrecruitmentblueprint.com, what I really want you to know that makes this thing like really pop is that I'm going to show you a structure, and it's based on driving your strategy through the eyes of a marketeer. So through a marketing mindset, okay? So that has been the common thread that I've been highlighting through this whole series, is to start developing that marketing mindset. Now, the thing is, we're, as HR people, many of us, most of us, pretty much all of us, we didn't go out and do marketing degrees to become HR people. But technology has really led us now into a different direction where we need to have these new kind of skills. So it's understandable if you don't have that kind of a mindset. It's something you need to be aware of that you don't have in order to obtain it in the first stage. So, one thing I learned years ago that came along with my own quantum leap in success is in turning around this situation was where I was desperate to find good talent. I was in a place where you may be now, where I was with an unknown organisation, but we were showing real promise and growing really fast, but I just couldn't find the candidates. with the specific technical skills for the advanced technology and software that our company was developing. The best engineers and, the software developers that we needed, well, they were locked in by the big guns and in our industry. And I had this really awkward, that really heart-pumping type of meeting with our CEO, where I found myself having to explain the situation of, open roles with 90-day plus, time to fill. And we had 40 or more positions left to fill. The hiring managers were complaining with candidate quality and time lag. And as they were being impacted, because they couldn't deliver what they needed to because they didn't have the staff. And, whilst some managers were really nice about it, God knows what they were saying behind my back, behind closed doors. And then there are the other hiring managers, and I know a lot of you know this one. Well, they started playing their own games by trying to go around HR, okay, and find their own. And it was really uncomfortable and stressful. And when it came down to it, I felt like the CEO was shining a spotlight on, my performance as a leader. And there was this moment, I remember this really clearly, where I just thought that he was sitting there and just in the balance sizing up on whether my job was on the line or not, Oh, it was terrible. But to cut to the chase, the paradigm shift that turned it, it turned an almost jobless situation around for me was that I learned to develop a marketing mindset. And the catalyst was like a chance discussion with our marketing manager. And she was really challenged marketing in a small unknown company. She'd come from big companies where it wasn't a problem for her previously. And that's when the light bulb went on for me, and I could see that she was having the same difficulties as me, but she had a set of skills that I didn't and a mindset that I didn't. So by tapping into her knowledge and mindset, I was able to turn it around. And the drought ended, and over a period of time, we started to enjoy constant top talent on tap. Now, if you haven't watched my videos, the company that I'm talking about is Citrix Systems, which is now like a $2 billion organisation. And, you're probably using one or more of their technologies right now, for remote accessibility to the internet. And so, I managed to then repeat this over and over in many different organisations who were struggling. Okay, so hopefully you're on the page, the www, the Ultimate Social Recruitment Blueprint, and I want to show you how you can turn your situation around using or taking these five steps. So I want you to scroll down, right down past that video and keep going quite some way down the page until you come to a purple box that says Step 1 or Module 1, Step 1. Now I want to show you the steps, and what's really cool is I've got them all here in writing for you, and you can just also grab your workbooks and fill in each step there later, but it also serves here as my offer to you, my invitation to join me and to do this and to learn this and know it, to have a plug and play system ready to go to get your employer brand message out there and attract the best that resonate with it, in such a way that you are creating like a rumbling, you really are creating a community who love your culture before they even enter the gates, So the thing is that this program is designed to be up and running within 90 days, which is why I say 90 days top talent on tap. Because, what happens is when you don't move forward now, you put it off. I know how it is. You've got all the great intention and then you just get sucked back down into, that vortex of distraction and new things come up, right? And it's also like with your hiring manager, whoever screams the loudest gets heard, right? And you're off in another tangent or direction doing something else and you never get to your vision. The funny thing is it's like a chicken and egg thing. If you don't have this in place, you don't get better candidates coming through and you keep struggling with trying to find them, and hiring managers continue to blame you. Believe me, I've been there, and you still rely on expensive recruiters and you and your team, you burn out. You just burn out from the chase all the time. So this is a long tail strategy. It's like a build it and they will come scenario, but it's very low cost and low risk. And you know, it's crazy is the success that some organizations are having with this pull marketing reverse recruitment approach. And so here is just a sample of what you'll get with this comprehensive virtual training, but it's the 5 steps you need to take to pull together a social recruitment branding strategy, so you can start turning those tables for yourself. So you will see the first step you need to start with, and when creating your structure for social recruitment branding strategy, is to first of all, you first check your social temperature. So this is like an audit phase. So the key to implementing any system is to lay the foundation, and you need to have it leveled out first, right? You need to ensure that you minimize your risks now, so down the track you don't have any obstacles and challenges that will test that commitment that needs to be strong. And as we discussed, if your commitment just stumbles, everything else can come undone. So this is about getting the troops ready, but by knowing what their fitness level, for want of another term, before you charge away with implementing a social recruitment branding strategy. So it's also about getting the right mindset in place for this to become a success for you. And we really do a really cool exercise around our mindsets with recruitment. So you need to understand the collective mindset at all levels in your organisation around social media. You know, it can make or break your strategy. You know, and because you really need to have top leadership behind you, and they need to get social media as much as you do, or more than you do even, because they will be key players in it. The other part to this step is laying the foundation for your social recruitment branding content, and that starts with knowing, well, who you are creating it for. Well, it's the candidates, obviously, but I'm going to show you a formula for a candidate profiling system that helps you identify who you are really focusing on. And it's not just like saying, well, we need candidates with this list of skills and this list of experience. We go really deep on candidate profiles. So, you know, it's a marketing technique, and it reveals what content you need, so you are creating targeted content that attracts the right candidates and then therefore repels the wrong ones. So when you know this, it then becomes a lot easier for that step, that content step 5, which is creating your contagious content. So if we scroll further down now to step 2 in the structure, is to set your social recruitment branding altitude. So this is your defining phase. So what do I mean by this? Well, this is where you determine, well, how far you want to take your organisation. So sure, you can whack in a social recruitment branding strategy after this training and say, well, this is it. Or you may set your sights on being the elite of the elite. Now, where does your company want to go with this? So in this step, you are going to get crystal clear on what your compelling vision is, okay? You know, what outcome your vision provides for the organisation. And I'll take you through this process of getting granular detail on exactly where your social recruitment branding strategy is going to take the organisation. So what is that destination, and exactly how to articulate it. In this step, you need to define your social recruitment goals, your KPIs, and knowing what's realistic and knowing what's not is really helpful in this stage. So seeing how other organisations have set their altitude through the case studies, it helps avoiding wasting your time and the risk of the program falling over. This is what we cover in my program, and the beauty is when you sign up now, I'll be leading this live online. So it's through a virtual program, and it's an online module course plus 5 calls with me, and where we will go through the training, and you come to the calls and I'll be able to answer all of your questions, and you'll be able to hear questions and learn from other participants who are taking committed action, who ask questions that, you know, trust me, you didn't even think to ask previously, that you'll be thankful that you heard. So that's the first 2 steps to creating the social recruitment branding strategy. And we do some pre-work here in the program, and there are some pre-course exercises that help you get clear on how your organisation is engaging with social media in a broad sense at the moment. So you create a clear snapshot. It's like a 1-pager of the penetration of staff and management on social media that helps you know what kind of house cleaning you need to do before the candidates arrive to your content, right? So this feeds into steps 1 and 2 because it serves as an indicator of where you are starting from and what your vision and your goals and therefore your KPIs around that strategy will be for you. Many people have said to me that they wish they'd known how to do this before they launched out, and because what they did was they just started creating content without doing steps 1, 2 and 3 first. And that's because they didn't know it, okay? Okay, so scrolling further down, we get to step 3 of the structure of the program, and that's creating your social recruitment branding tactics. So we've locked in the principle of clarity with steps 1 and 2, and we're moving into the putting the pieces together. So I guess the analogy here is, suppose you have the vision of, suppose you want a Ferrari, right? That's what you want. But at the moment, all you've got is a bicycle, you know, or a standard car. You can't make a Ferrari out of a bike, okay? So we need to start getting the parts, you know, we need to get the mechanics you need, and you need to know the right parts to get, you know, the right nuts and bolts that need to go with each other. So step 3 is understanding which social recruitment tactics, you know, platforms, what your tactical KPIs are going to be that matter for your organisation, okay? So for your organisation, you know, I'm seeing a real flock mentality happening out there because organisations simply don't know how to do this for their unique situation. So they're copying. It's kind of like the blind leading the blind, going around in circles. Well, you know, if you're doing that, you need a guide dog. And, you know, if that guide dog is me, great. But please stop copying without knowing why you're doing it. You need to move out of this flock mentality so you're able to rise above and be seen by your ideal candidates. You know, otherwise they just see much of the same, and like the principle of quality is, I just gave away one of the other principles, it is quality. People recognise quality. They recognise a well put together, connected and executed strategy. And they also recognise a mishmash of disorganisation and half-bake. So step 3 is to know what tactics you need to take on various platforms, because they're not all the same. And the biggest mistake a lot of organisations are making is at the moment is like this sawn-off shotgun approach with their content. You know, they're splattering it across everywhere. So, you know, remember I talked about making those elegant moves that make the difference. And this is where we get to the core of those elegant moves in step 3, where I show you the tools and social media management technology that make your execution elegant, easy and effective. So when you sign up, the resource for this particular module is my Ultimate Social Recruitment Tools Resource Guide. It's packed with over 50 social recruitment branding tools for content creation and distribution and management and monitoring and analysis, and it really is a toolkit you need for everything. Okay, moving on, we're up to step 4, which is the monitoring stage. So this is planning to build in sustainability into your strategy. You know, the only way to know if something will be sustainable is by measuring and monitoring and analysing performance. So step 4 to your structure is to determine and develop the right metrics, starting with knowing what budget you need and how to budget for social recruitment branding strategy. I share with you the 6 key budget item areas for an end-to-end social recruitment branding strategy that you need to consider and know to create your entire budget. And I cover those hidden budget items in the social recruitment blueprint program. So there are no holes and blowout that can potentially leave you with some hard explaining down the line and down the track. You know, one of the difficult things in this stage of your strategy is knowing what metrics you should focus on. And I know, you know, out there are thousands of different formulas flying around in social media. But in my program, I distill it down for you in a very easy and digestible way that focuses on what the 4 key metric categories you need to monitor for each stage of the, you know, that diamond of commitment that's within the blueprint. And if you remember the diamond of commitment, it's at each stage that the candidate goes through of being unaware to knowing you, engaging, and then committing. But most importantly, I help you identify the metrics that actually provide economic value, which are the most important figures for your HR leadership, which is return on investment. Okay, so upfront, to sell this to senior leadership and get buy-in, you need to be able to say straight out, well, this is how I will be determining the return on investment for this strategy, and these are the areas that we will be making savings and a return, and this is how I'm going to reinvest the savings for a greater bottom line return and profit. Okay, so I want to make this easy for you, because it is easy when you know how, but to make it even super easier, when you sign up for the program, you'll also get the hot resource, which is the HR Social Recruitment Branding Budget Planner. You know, if you don't know where to start with your budget or figures, you know, and well, it's all done for you. You just plug in some variables unique to your organisation and, you know, presto bang, it's all done for you. Okay, so we're at step 5, the final step, and this is where the rubber meets the road. So this is where we're in execution phase. So everything before is setting up your strategy, and now it's implementation time. And step 5 is creating contagious social recruitment branding content. Okay, so this is it. Right now, like now you're on the dance floor, you're in the competition, but you need to know the right techniques to carry off a flawless performance, okay? Here is where your employer brand message and your employee value proposition really gets to shine. But it has to be done through a carefully crafted structure and technique. And I went through some of that structure with you today with the 7 key steps that ultimately influences your candidate audience, what to do and what you want them to do. So you will learn the mistakes companies are making with their social media content and what you need to be doing to avoid these mistakes and ensure you're making the most optimum impact with the time and effort you're making. You know, we look at various case studies of companies who are doing it brilliantly, and we deconstruct examples of content so you can actually see the structure. So if you are going to spend that time and effort, you might as well do it right? You know, this echoes that principle that I let slip before of quality, okay? Which is not only a principle, but I am willing to bet for many of you, it's one of your company values, you know, that many companies have and many of you may have here today. So I will show you how to create premium content and give it a winning structure by also teaching you the 7 key principles of what's called content anatomy, which you can apply across all your content types, no matter if it's video, if it's slides, article, posts, visual content. So this is really important. You know, this is where you get to know the triggers to embed into your content, those psychological triggers that make it highly shareable. So I cover the viability factors that give your content that unfair advantage. So I'm just aware we're just a little bit over the hour, and I wanted to go into some of the questions that some of you may have, and then we've got a little bit more after if you want to stay on. You want to stay on the line here, but I'm just going to go and have a look. Bear with me if I can see some questions in the chat line here. Just having a look down now. Okay. All right, here's one. What if we have no social media recruitment presence at all and we are just starting out? Okay, I'm glad you asked this one. Who's it from? This is from Kate. Kate, thanks. You are in a great place for this now, Kate. You have the advantage of not having to unlearn or unravel what you have known about having a social media recruitment presence, because it can kind of lead you down a deep rabbit hole. I don't want you all to go out there and chase every bright and shiny new social recruitment object, which I see so many doing, because I can see that their social recruitment branding approach is really, disconnected, and it lacks structure and systems. Excuse me. This program is the one tool that will empower you to build it perfectly from the ground up by learning the mistakes to avoid before you make them. And you also, Kate, you get to see the case studies of how others have achieved success and joy, and how they're enjoying high quality candidates and have lowered their costs. So I hope that makes sense. If you have no social media recruitment presence, jump on in there, get into it. Okay. Let's have a look to see some other questions. Okay. We have been developing our employer brand content online for some time. Great. Does this mean we have to scrap our content and start again? Okay, no, the answer to that is no, okay? The short answer, no. No, I don't recommend you scrap it initially. But Module 5 shows you how you can salvage what you have and tweak it to make a big difference over time. You can increase the quality of your content. So if you're already out there doing it, you might as well start increasing the quality of your content now. So you can, over time reassign and reuse existing content in different formats with a stronger structure, so you can seamlessly retire existing content at the right time. Okay. So yeah, no, don't scrap what you have. You just build in, these principles and structures into, and you can edit your content. That's easily done. Okay. I might just do 2 more questions before we wrap up and say goodbye, or if you want to stay on the line and learn more, you can. Here's one. We struggle coming up with what is unique about our company. We are a financial services organisation which is not really interesting upon which to base any exciting content or stories on. What kind of content can we create? Oh, I love this one. Okay. Now, I think this is an area that many companies struggle with, and, HR people, because typically we don't have a marketing mindset. But here is where I help you. In Module 1, there is a resource that will be really helpful for you, and it is a 50-point SWOT planner. That lists 50 organisational strengths that I'm absolutely sure you would have at least 10 to draw from, that can then form the basis of content for you. So this is Sally. So Sally, we often don't see what are the strengths are in our organisation, and that's when an external pair of eyes and advice can be the difference, between dull and dazzling, and plus in Module 5, there's a resource list of 25 plus unique content ideas that rock. Okay, so that's just to help you and get a starter there. Okay, all right. I think I might. if you're willing to start, I'll pop in one last question here. Okay, so we're in the healthcare aged care industry, and most of the candidates we seek are not on LinkedIn. How is this going to help us get candidates that are either computer illiterate or not on social media? So it's Kyle asking this question. Thanks, Kyle. So I know there are many in a similar situation where there is a mindset that social media recruitment branding may not work for your organisation, or you might be up against that mindset with your senior management, or that you have unique situations that other organisations don't, therefore it may not work for you. Well, firstly, to reference your question, Kyle, social media recruitment doesn't begin and end with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is seen by many as a monopoly on the recruitment space, and this program is not about, you know, direct sourcing or what I call profile pursuit, where you are scraping through hundreds and hundreds of profiles to contact. You know, there are plenty of people out there that teach this kind of push sourcing. You know, I'm focused on the unique concept of pull marketing or reverse recruitment, you know, where you are attracting candidates to approach you, and you're increasing the quality of those candidates. So to further answer your question, Kyle, in terms of computer literacy or candidates engaged with social media, what you need to know is that social media influence is second. It's second only to the most powerful and still leading influencer of candidates, which is word of mouth. So your ideal candidates, you know, they have friends, they have neighbours, family and acquaintances that are on social media. And if you remember, one of the 5 key elements of influence, is social proof. So when you are creating content that has high triggers for sharing, it means it can also be shareable offline also. So what I'm saying, Kyle, is that, you know, it's still definitely worthwhile to an extent, but particularly when technology is so mobile. You know, your ideal candidates can be at barbecues or down at the pub or on a bus or anywhere, and their friends, their contacts and family can easily whip out their mobile phone or tablet and show them, or even just talk about it. You know, candidates who will seek you out based on what they hear will go the extra mile to do so. And ultimately, you know, don't you want those kind of people? Don't you want top quality candidates that go the extra mile? Okay, so those are the questions, and that is my offer to you today. And you know, you can go to www.theultimatesocialrecruitmentblueprint.com to get yourself registered for the upcoming program, which is starting really quite soon. And I'm just going to release to you that content planner tool. Thank you very much for staying online with me. You know, that's the 5 online modules with the 5 live calls, plus the extra bonus module to gain leadership and stakeholder buy-in, including all the plug and play resources and templates and checklists. So you get the social recruitment digital audit matrix, you get the social recruitment branding blueprint planning brief, you get my done for you internal social recruitment temperature survey. So if you want to survey your staff base to get an idea of, you know, the penetration and their use of social recruitment, that's already done for you. You get my ultimate social recruitment tools resource guide, which has 50+ tools to create, manage, monitor and distribute your social recruitment content. You get the social recruitment branding blueprint budget planner. You just click a few buttons, put in a few unique requirements, and bang, it's done for you. The HR social recruitment branding blueprint content anatomy checklist. You know, this one is really critical for ensuring that your content has got those psychological triggers that make it shareable and take action. You get the social media communication and response plan template that helps you manage negative comments and social media trolls that may impact your company reputation on your community platforms. So I invite you to join me. It's $1,000 off right now. The full price is $2,997, but we can work together on it right now. And by the way, if you can't make the live calls, don't worry. You can still submit your questions and have them answered on the calls, which will all be recorded. So if you need to travel, you're traveling for work, or you're off on leave, or you miss a live session, and we have others on this line from different countries and time zones, it's all recorded, which you can access and download and catch up on and keep forever. I'm just including all the things I've learned here and that are in the blueprint structure. And I want to give you everything that you need to make decisions that you need to make and to make that difference that you've really been waiting for. There's no point in disconnecting from here and just thinking about it. I mean, I'll be the one teaching you here. I've taught hundreds of people, and there's something you need to know we don't cover, just let us know. You can see our address, at support@corporatecanary.com.au, or we have a frequently asked questions page there at the bottom of the ultimate social recruitment blueprint.com. So do yourself a favor, as we're wrapping up now, do yourself a favor and start making decisions. Just start making decisions. If you're not making decisions, your top candidates you want to attract aren't making decisions, and you are seeing the impact of that in your organization now. And that's why you came today. And it's about being congruent with what you need to have happen in your organization. So if you're wanting the best candidates to move outside their comfort zone, that's what you need to be doing as well. You are calling on them to trust you with one of their top priorities in their life. We talked about the research, about research where candidates are, where their careers and their jobs are their top priorities. So be congruent with what you are asking of them. If you are sitting on the fence right now on this and making the decision to join me, be the change and create that change that allows the top quality candidates to step out and move towards you. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you. I would love to have you on board. When you build a community of others who learn, and when you're creating that community together and learning together, you start to create energy and ideas and value for each other. So you can just go down there and register at the button on the ultimate social recruitment blueprint.com, and you get immediate access to the pre-course work to get started this week. $1,000 off right now from the regular $2,997 investment. So thank you for joining me today, and for the honor of being with you today and being your teacher today, and for your time and the presence to learn, and hopefully to inspire you to open up to the possibility of transformation that you want to create in your organization. When you see that possibility right now, you need to cram a wedge in there, because when you step away, it disappears. And as strong as it feels right now, it goes away. So I'm inviting you to put in that wedge today, and that wedge is this structure and this strategy that I will teach you. So let's get it done. Let's get you and your team going and get you there. I look forward to seeing you around the campus. I'm Anne-Marie Auric, and bye for now.